Let's call it like it is. Most companies are not doing AI, they are doing panic. One urgent pilot, one random tool, one executive watching a competitor and spiraling. That's reactive leadership. Listeners, today we are shifting the conversation to human systems in AI, the behaviors, the incentives, decision rights, and culture that determine whether AI becomes a leverage or chaos. And we are getting into how leaders move from reacting to every AI headline to leading strategically with clarity and spine. Welcome back, listeners, to the Biz Blend podcast. I'm your host, Sana, as always, and today we are talking about human systems in AI, the shift from reactive to strategic leadership. And let me tell you a little bit about my guest. Now, she turns vision into reality to drive multi-million-dollar revenue growth, accelerate delivery, reduce operational costs, and also elevate customer satisfaction by leading global enterprise wide transformation, which is grounded in strategy, innovation, and execution. She has led across product management, program leadership, and also enterprise transformation. And that gives her the rare ability to see end to end change, from defining strategy to building the roadmap to aligning cross functional teams to delivering measurable outcomes. That's a lot, listeners, but yeah, that's a hell of an experience. So, listeners, she also specializes in helping leaders use AI and emerging technologies responsibly and strategically, advising C suites on AI strategy, operating model design, governance, and adoption, people first innovation, better customer experience, stronger resilience, and real outcomes. So, if your org is stuck in reactive mode or your AI program, it feels like just vibes and vendor demos, you are in the right place. And listeners, meet my incredible guest, Rupali Kumbani. So, Rupali, welcome to the show, and it's really an honor to have you here with us.
Thank you, Sana, for such a kind introduction. It's super exciting, and I'm passionate about this conversation. So let's dig into it.
Absolutely, and yeah, I mean, that's really such a vast and very I mean rich experience, Rupal, in there. So let's first try to understand. Um, this is a very interesting part of leadership. Like, what does reactive leadership look like in AI today for you?
I've been working with a lot of C-suite leadership on how to adopt AI. This year has been a launch. Everybody is now getting familiar with AI and how it is using. Most of the people where I'm talking about are using generative AI, then less of a machine learning. They're not building LLMs inside. They are leveraging some tools from outside, but they have to go through this learning process. And what I've been seeing among the leader is fear and reactive leadership. The fear of being behind the trend, fear of not convincing their stakeholders that they are using AI. So they are just reacting to every new trend coming out of it. Every problem, they believe it could be solved by AI. So it becomes like innovation is the culture, but the human systems, which is you have mentioned, is the decision making, the strategy, the how this action builds this innovative culture is becoming more reactive. And that's creating a problem. In nutshell, what happens is, and then the people, the employees, the members they are working with feels AI is the problem. Actually, is not an issue, is that reactive leadership is.
That absolutely makes sense. And I'm actually seeing, examples out there. And I think something that is very important to add on to here is certain companies, where even the customers, they wouldn't welcome introducing AI into it. I mean, yeah, internally, in the processes and systems, you may use AI, LLM, or any, flashy AI tools out there. However, without even understanding whether introducing AI would be beneficial to the customers or not, actually, like everyone is trying to jump onto that bandwagon of, that now we are AI enabled and blah, blah, blah.
Exactly. So I wanted to make sure to the listener and everybody who is in this journey, AI is really here to help us out. So I'm not saying the use of AI is a problematic. I'm not saying one should not be using this or leaders should not think in that direction, but that direction should be based on strategic leadership. So you talked about the example. I was talking with a financial leader who was introducing a new product in a market, and I was advising him how to do the launch of this product. His first question was, which AI tools should I use? His mindset was that the AI is the magic will give him all the customers, which he's not able to get it in a pack. And my role was to shift that mindset from AI being the strategy to AI being the part of the strategy. Your strategy should be made on the data. You need to look into your customer databases. You have to see that what failed in the past product launch. So my advice is moving his team to look into the data particular to the previous launches, creating user profile, creating habits which is attracting those users. And are they continue to target that audience or their audience has been shifted? Once that information is there, you they figured it out that there was a problem in a user cases on a user profile rather than on any other things. And you knowing, having that knowledge about it, what you can shift is from AI being the solution. Now you have a data which gives you information about exact problem. And then we can leverage is tools and technology right here. So what chasing a tools before defining problems is a societal. What will happen is if you put AI in your broken processes, in your broken technology, it will enhances those broken processes. And rather than giving you that return on investment, it will amplify your problem more, and that will not be going in favor of any of the leadership direction.
Yeah, 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 I agree. I agree. I mean, people would stop trusting priorities. They'll, burning teams, burning cycles, and then the org quietly learning that okay, let's wait it out. It will definitely change again next quarter.
Yeah, that's exactly. So we talked about the C-suite leadership, but I also talked with the mid-level leadership, and that fear is growing up. They are working in a very limited resources. So with the mindset when C-suite leaders are getting involved with AI and putting AI tools, their expectation is they would have more productivity with the less humans. And that's where it's causing layoffs. So that is you have a limited resources. Now people who are working and staying in an organization has a not support system to work on their current job, while on top of it they have to learn a lot about the AI and how AI would be working, because you have introduced AI in this your mode, and in this beginning stages of AI, members needs to learn. We need to feed data to LLMs and your algorithm to work efficiently and effectively. That takes a lot of time and effort from people to learn how to give a right prompt, to make sure that decision has been made correctly, that the data, the output you're receiving out of the AI is correct or not. It's all taking a lot of time from that mid-level leadership, and they are burning out so quickly. The teams are feeling unsafe. Employee fears irrelevance. They were thinking that if I don't work on AI, I might be in a chopping block for the next layoff. So that innovation is creating a lot more chaos, a lot more fear among the people.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. And Rupali, let's look at the other spectrum, other end of the spectrum here. Um, when we talk about strategic leadership, let's say AI, as you mentioned, being part of the strategy, what changes when leaders become strategic? Like practically, what do they do differently week on week?
That's the great question.
Mm.
So what I would say is to how to move and shift from this reactive leadership to that strategic leadership. First of all, AI is a groundbreaking. innovation tool. Everybody is going to be seeing effects of it in a long term, but it's still an innovation, and we should not move away from how we have done the innovation in the past. The innovation pace is faster. Yeah, the AI adoption needs to be faster. So what leaders need to be doing is, first is the clarity before technology. Every problem needs to have a database insight into it. Look into what the problem looks like. What is the root cause analysis of it? And then put AI as a part of a strategy. Sometimes it's just fixing your business process will bring you more ROI than investing into AI. And in long term, you feel like you have created more problems. So you need to have a clarity before having the technology investment. You need to create trust before transformation. When you're introducing AI or any innovative technologies, you need to create a trusted environment in your organization. That comes talking with your people, active listening without bias. Listen to your people and what they are going through, what are problems they are facing, what is the fear is in everybody's mind. Take that insight and create a trusted environment that take away that fear and converts that fear into opportunity. Cultural intelligence before standardization. My experience revolves a lot around global organization. And with being any kind of a technology revolution or innovation, we want to work with a global environment. Even in a local environment, you will have members coming from different backgrounds, different culture, different value system. So you need to understand how each of individual is going to be interpreting this technology. For some, it is easier to adopt, and for some, it is difficult to adapt to new technology. So make sure that you're bringing everyone together. Having that cultural intelligence as a leader will help you to bridge this gap. You will see entire team moving as a one rather than some moving forward and then create an inequality in which creates more chaos. And then strategy before speed. The biggest I would say incentive for leaders to go after AI tool is the speed. I want to do this quickly as possible. I want to have results within a 1 week, or I want to see the results in 1 day. Speed level goes faster and faster. We all are living in this hyper environment where you want to see results as quickly as possible. And that is where the more harm is coming. Especially as a leadership level, you need to bring strategy. Is this speed is worth it for me? Is a short-term gain is good for me? Because you might get a results in 3 days or in a week or in a month time, but in a long term, it will be a wasteful investment. And it will be too late after a year when you evaluate your AI investment. So I feel the leaders need to be more strategic. Don't chase the speed blindly. Make sure that your strategy, your goals are very well defined, and make sure how this speed or how this new tool or what you're trying to achieve is going to fit into that bigger vision, how it is giving you that goals which you were looking for. And in that you will prioritize, because a lot of time if you prioritize multiple items, if you have a 10 goals which is your higher priority, you're not going to get the results because you're constantly going to be chasing and burning out, and not yourself but to entire your team. So I would say strategy and prioritization would be super helpful. And also create adaptability. AI is evolving so quickly. So you need to have a adaptability and agility. If you have a big plans and something in middle you feel and you check in yourself and your goal setting and you feel like we are not going in the right direction, or there is a tool which is better coming, or there is something we need to stop and rest, please take give yourself that permission and create that culture and environment, that human system in your own company so that your team member are empowered to do so. A lot of time it becomes like, oh, I've invested so much, so I need to go all the way and completely the time and energy on something which you knew that's not going to go in the right direction just because you have invested 20% and 30% of your time. That's not a right approach. That's not a strategic approach. As a leader, for me, I need to be more agile and I need to adopt something new coming up or something is failing. I would take that small failure and move quickly to something which is going to give me a better result. And then people before the efficiency.
Yeah.
A lot of time people becomes the afterthought. I wanted to have this much revenue growth. I want to have this efficiency. I wanted to have operational improvement in X amount of days in this customer satisfaction of 30%, but you're burning your own people in that. You need to keep your people at the center. That can be your stakeholder, that can be your team members, that can be your customers. Keep them in your mind. You have given an example. Introducing a chatbot is now a very well known tactics everybody's been trying to use because AI chatbot is good. But we know it in past experience. A lot of time it backfires in so many situations. We always wanted to talk real human. When you are in trouble and you want some answer, an AI or an operating system is not super helpful. Still, a human connection is needed. AI or any innovation techniques are not that involved or evolve to that level that can replace the human connection. And it depends. If you are in a store where you are selling certain products, which is cookie cutters, if you are selling products on electric supplies or into some of the manufacturing unit, it might work. But if you are implementing an AI chatbot in a healthcare hospital setting, that would not work because here the stakes are high. Human connection is different. So put that people before efficiency. Putting AI just for an efficiency and burning your own people would not help you to grow in a right direction.
Yeah, yeah. And I can actually, Rupali, kind of vouch for the last point that you made, especially as a customer. Like I would, for let's say any particular product, technology product or anything, I would like to interact with a human when there is any troubleshooting required. I I mean, yeah, chatbot to some extent it can maybe at the initial stage help. However, as a customer, I would still kind of have that feeling of safety and trust when I'm actually talking to a human. Because I know for the fact that there is definitely like a 50-50 or 60-40 chance that that particular human agent would understand what exactly is my problem and then help me either get the solution instantly or maybe at least kind of raise a ticket or help me kind of get the problem solved within a particular deadline or that.
Exactly. Like we all go through airline and I've gone through so many experience and every time I wanted to talk is I want to talk with a person because it doesn't mean that human is going to give me a solution in 2 seconds or 2 minutes. Might be based on the situation, but a lot of time it gives a comfort, as you have said it, that I'm talking to a real person who understand my emotion, who understand my frustration. It's not just that I was not able to fly or I had a bad experience, but there is a consequence with it, which is not only is on financial level, but a lot on to my personal level, on my mental level, and I want to make sure that they understand that empathy piece, which we get out from the human conversation. Right now, I could have done this with an AI, but talking with you makes that validation quicker and that makes that validation real because I'm talking to a real human who can connect with my emotion and says, yes, Rupali, I agree with you that if I go through chatbot, this is my experience. So that's that human empathy, that human connection gives you that validation which a machine does not able to give it to you.
Mm, absolutely, absolutely. And I think this is a huge, huge kind of a kind of a question that actually many of my friends, they have that will AI be able to mimic human empathy? And I think that needs a completely separate episode and conversation
Yeah.
because it's such a big topic. Yeah.
It is, and that's also creating, fear among people that AI is going to take my job. That narration is coming more and more people are using AI. They are threatened by it. The fear is building on that, And leadership, if it's not helping to resolve that fear, it's not able to create that safe culture and that safe human environment and a human innovation culture, then it becoming more difficult for people to adapt. And that creating more resistance because AI is going to take my job. Why should I learn about AI? Or AI, and some has a very other extremes that AI not going to be as good as my experience. The truth lies in between. I believe that AI is that companion who can support you, but still it's very early stage that it replaces human completely. Need human intuition because there are conditions and terms applies. For example, in insurance industry, when somebody claims about for their house or for about their health, there's so much nuance to it. Maybe a machine would not be able to understand the complexity around that one particular cases. Some cases, yes, it's able to solve very quickly if it is a simple solution. But when there is a lot of factors involved, you might not get the same insurance benefit as a human person would have involved into that process and understand what needs to be done. So there are improvements happening, but it's all revolves around the data. Everybody wants to use AI, but forgets AI is not that magical truth written by someone. It is works on the data feeded by us, by human, and creating an algorithm to create you that predictive information. So if there is a bias in human information, if there is a mistakes in human algorithm, AI going to be acting as with those mistakes too. So you need to have a human intervention to see whether the results which you are getting is correct or not. And that is, as of now, is very true and true because any kind of a model you've been using, whether you're using, I don't want to take a names, but if you are using any kind of a generative AI, whether for your work life, for your emails, for your process improvement, for your documentations, every time you have to double check it because informations are not correct. A lot of time there is a term of hallucination of AI has been used. AI gives you information which is not correct. So knowing having your expertise helps you to make that correct decision whether this is right or wrong, whether this is my language or is it borrowed it from Sana and trying to mimic my language. So you will come to know there are copyright issues and how the innovation and creativity would look like in the world of AI will be very different. So there is a lot of ethicality needs to be involved. There has to be a lot of trust needs to be involved. A data security is so important. So these whole combination will make that AI world. So I don't feel it's going to be replacing human, but yes, it's going to be replacing activities, which is more administrative and giving back us that additional time. Now it's us on human, how we're going to be spending. Because that's another challenge leaders need to think about that you want extra productivity, you have use efficiency, you have taken administrative time away from your humans. Now, how to utilize that time? Do we work on something more research oriented? Do we spend that time on team building, knowing each other, understanding how you using that time efficiently will add to that culture, will add to the revenue which the companies are looking into.
That's pretty well put, Rafai. I mean, yeah, pretty well put. And before we wrap up, as we're also talking about the human systems here, like org structure or decision rights. You mentioned about the cultural intelligence. I really love that phrase. Now, can you give like maybe a case study or an example? Where actually the leadership kind of is in process of moving from reactive to a strategic leadership, to especially towards AI implementation, or understanding the human systems in there.
Yeah, so I was advising this organization who was working into adoption of AI, and what I did it was to look into it and what its current situation is. And my analysis was they were working on fear leadership.
Mm.
Leadership was fearing about that the data would be exposed to unauthorized AI systems, and people would have an expectation that we will be investing into each AI tool to make this life better. Well, were fearing that if I don't work on AI, then I would be in a chopping block. This AI is going to be taking my job away in either cases. So both sides were working on the that fear mode, and that's the reason leadership was more reactive. So I have created an adoption model for them, which is grounded more in opportunity driven. So created a governance committee and created a training models which addresses both side of the leadership problem. So, for example, I've created a governance committee of the leaders from a different cross functional team where any employee, when they wanted to invest into a new AI tool or have a new proposal or a use cases, will submit to this committee. And the committee will evaluate based on the information shared, like what is the risk associated with it, what problems we are trying to solve, and what is the investment it's going to need it, and what is the return on investment looks like. And having the cross functional team there, they could even talk it out that, we have a better solution which other team has been using. So rather than investing into new tool, why don't you learn about this original one which we originally invested into and can use it for your better use case? So they can make that strategic decision and invest in a right way so that your return on investment is correct. And it gives a peace of mind to leaders that we are going in the right direction. I have all these data information saying that I made a great data driven decision rather than blindly investing into a tool. And since it's been invested by the organization, your data is more secure than people trying to use out of box or a third party tool and exposing their very much data of organization. Second model was creating a learning model where talking with leaders, it turns out to be they want more people to be investing into AI, not to fear in AI. And the best way to take away the fear of AI is to give them a right data. Every now and then, right now, we've been bombarded with all sort of data, and we ourselves are overloaded with data, and it's difficult to make a decision which is the right tool for me. Is this much how much amount of time is good enough a time for me to invest into this tool and learn about it? I've taken the guesswork out of the system. This training module will create it based on the department needs and the people at their skill set so they can learn the tool which is right for their need. A financial person needs to know more about their own tooling system rather than knowing about what marketing team needs to be doing it. So creating them tools which helps them in their own department to solve their own problems gives takes away that guesswork out of the system. And what helps them to see is how can I use this tool from better of my advantage in making their own conclusion. Is this the right tool for me and my team? Is this help me to grow? Is this help me to solve the problem, or it's creating more problem? This way, they are seeing this as an opportunity to learn and not being fearful about the AI. And the third thing which I have invested in advice the AI to the leaders is to carve out time from their own busy calendar, because at the C-suite level, there's a lot of going things are going around their life, and we are all juggling the personal life, professional life. So my recommendation to every leader was to take out the time from your busy schedule. Maybe depending upon how quickly you want to move in AI and what growth stage you are, you decide whether the quarterly, monthly, or a weekly timetable is good for you. But carve out that time to learn about the AI technology. Even though you are at this position, you have a team members, but you need to be educated about AI and how it's moving so you can create that human systems. You can understand these AI systems better and help your team to do the same. When they see the leaders are investing, that gives a positive information to their team saying, I need to do that. They are taking time out of their calendar. I need to do the same, because the culture builds up from top down. Never it goes up bottom up.
Exactly. I think the last one is brilliant, Rupal. It's brilliant because um it's basically, practice what you're preaching. So when your people will see that, as a leader, as a CEO, you are also finding out, making out time from your busy schedule to learn AI. They'll kind of find a oneness in that. And I think they'll also be completely aligned that, okay, my leadership is there. Okay, let's get onto this and let's learn it. So that's a brilliant. I really loved, especially the third, uh, you know, uh, third point that you mentioned, and um, uh, absolutely. I mean, very very rich conversation here, very rich insights, Rupali. So, if our listeners, if they would like to connect with you to explore further, maybe they would have their own thoughts from this conversation, how they can reach out to you.
Yes, I really enjoyed this conversation. And as you can see it, I'm very passionate about this. And for me, is also a learning opportunity. I would love to know everybody's experience because it resonates with them. There's something different is challenging in your environment. I would love to connect with you all. So you can connect with me on a LinkedIn. My handle is Rupali Kumbani, which is my first name and last name. So you can connect with me, share your information, and share me your messages and tell me what sort of challenges you and your leadership team is facing, and I would try to help you out.
Superb, superb. Listeners, as you all know, I'll definitely have all the links mentioned in the show notes. So just hover over to them along with this episode on whichever platform you listen to your podcast to. And let's wrap this up. I think here's what we landed on AI today. I mean, it does not fail because the model is smart or not smart. It fails because the human system around it is chaotic. Incentives misaligned, decision rights unclear, leaders reactive, teams confused, governance too heavy or probably non existent. So, the shift from reactive to strategic leadership is really a shift from chaos to clarity, as beautifully explained by Rupali, listeners. From let's chase tools to let's redesign how we decide, work, and learn. So, thank you so much, Rupali, once again. I mean, this is rare, but this is so necessary. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And to all the listeners out there, if you want momentum, stop treating AI like a trend and start treating it like an operating model upgrade. People first, clarity always. Until next time, this is BizBlend, and I'm Sana, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Thank you.